Hey, this is Kevin with Digital LA. We are super excited to have CB. He is the editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics with us today to talk about a brand new project that's coming out, which is Ultraman. Ultraman is beloved by fans for over 50 years, originating in Japan, and has a huge fan base there. Basically, the Superman of Japan is Ultraman. We're very excited that Marvel Comics has decided to publish Ultraman. That's coming out later in a couple months. So definitely check that out. And we're here with CB to talk about that. So CB, how are you doing?
Hey, Kevin. Thanks for having me on, of course.
There we go.
And here at Marvel, we prefer the Spider-Man of Japan over the Superman.
Got it. Did we just redo that part?
Sure.
What's that?
If you want to go back and redo it, I'm fine with doing that, but it's okay. You know, we have nothing but love and respect for our friends at the Distinguished Competition.
Let's redo that. Take two.
Right.
This is why it's not live. I actually have a Spider-Man standee. Should I put that in the background, or is that too much? 1 second.
You too. I knew it. Kevin has 250 Spider-Man T-shirts.
Yeah, we saw those yesterday a little bit.
Yeah. I forgot if it was you or Tom, right? And yeah, I knew something's going to happen. This is why live streams are dangerous.
Yep.
Right. Are you, Kevin? Are you for real? I can't even.
Let me change my set now.
Yeah, you're blocking your company. Stevie is getting the 100%.
Is this too much?
There you go.
It's very nice and subtle. I like it.
All right, cool. All right, take two, gentlemen.
Okay, there we go. Hey, this is Kevin Winston with Digital LA. We are super excited to have CB. He is the editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics, here to talk about Ultraman. As you may or may not know, Ultraman is a beloved hero in Japanese culture for more than 50 years. He is kind of known as the Spider-Man of Japanese culture. He's that popular. And we're super excited that CB is here to talk with us about Ultraman's becoming a Marvel comic. It's going to be a Marvel comic that's coming out this fall. So CB, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, man.
Excellent.
Happy to be here. You know, Ultraman is, like you said, one of the original Japanese superheroes, and we could not be more thrilled that Marvel will be publishing his adventures now in English with original comics here in the United States.
Awesome. So as we mentioned, Ultraman is super beloved and well known. There are tons of movies, video games, merchandise, all that good stuff out of Japan mostly. Fans in the U.S. certainly know and love him as well, and his cast of characters. How did this project come to Marvel Comics, and why now?
You know, I've been a fan of Ultraman for a long time. You know, since I was a kid. People do not realize just how long the history of Ultraman really is. You know, there's been a manga and anime boom in the States over the last, couple decades. So fans are very familiar with, other Japanese properties, and it's really the cool Japan kind of movement has brought so much different, content here to, publishing industry, Netflix, all the different providers. But in Japan, Ultraman is kind of where it really all got its start. You know, right. He is the quintessential hero. Loved by the Japanese people of all ages. People don't realize just how big he is. He is everywhere when you go to Japan. And at Marvel, we were very familiar with his popularity. Executive editor Tom Brevoort and I, like I said, have been fans since we were kids. So when the opportunity came up and they said, hey, would Marvel be interested in publishing Ultraman? It was like a split-second answer, like, yes, we don't care. We're on it.
Nice.
And, working with the editors and the people at Tsuburaya has just been a dream experience. And I cannot wait for fans, Marvel fans, Japanese Ultraman fans, fans around the world to see this adventure as being told through the eyes of Marvel's artists and writers.
Nice. We're super excited about that. What are some of the aspects about Ultraman that you wanted to emphasize more of in the Marvel Comics / Marvel Universe world?
People always ask me what separates Marvel heroes from other superheroes. And there's a couple factors, but, one of the big factors is that with Marvel, we really focus on the two sides of the hero, the human side and the superhuman side. And Spider-Man's story is just as much about Peter Parker. And Iron Man's story is just as much about Tony Stark. And they incorporate these values, these human values of heart and heroism and humor that really add to their stories and make them different from other heroes. And in knowing Ultraman and working with Tsuburaya, Ultraman himself has very similar characteristics that we love and we see reflected in our heroes. And Tsuburaya as a company has values in how they create Ultraman and tell his stories in being aspirational and inspirational that we also live up to and respect. So, you know, we really think that the core of Ultraman, of who he is as a hero and who he is as a character, really matches perfectly with who the Marvel heroes are, and he's going to fit perfectly in our publishing line.
Amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about Ultraman, who he is, what his power set is, what's basically the scoop on Ultraman?
You know, I don't want to give too much. Sorry.
What's that?
I don't want to give too much away.
Okay.
You know, Ultraman has a long history. There's all different versions of Ultraman. Just like, you know, in the Marvel universe, you have, you know, Spider-Man, you have Miles Morales, you have Spider-Woman, you have Spider-Gwen, you have all these different versions of Spider-Man. Ultraman has many iterations as well over the 5 or 6 decades that he's been being, you know, created and, you know, stories told about him in Japan. We're providing our interpretation of the classic Ultraman origin, told through the eyes, I said, of the Marvel creators with our sense of storytelling. We're going to be retelling his origin. And, you know, he was a normal guy, got into some trouble, encountered this being from another space, and kind of the two merged to become the hero that is known as Ultraman. So just as we have Spider-Man and underneath he's Peter Parker, you know, Ultraman has his alter ego. Don't want to get into too much of the details of our story. It's a secret, so people are going to have to read that first issue when it hits in September. But I think they will be thrilled with the story that we're telling and how Ultraman, not just Ultraman, but also the kaiju, the villains, right. You know, those larger-than-life monsters, how we're going to be bringing them to life and how they are going to be defining Ultraman as a hero in ways that people might not expect.
All right, can't wait to get my hands on the book to see what that all how that all transpires. That's super exciting. So can you tell us about the kaiju over the 50 plus years of Ultraman? He's had a lot of different like stories, a lot of different kaiju. Anything that we can look forward to as far as the types of interactions we'll be having with them,
sure.
or butt kicking, as you might say, or
yeah. Yep. So the one thing that's important to remember, and the one thing that's been amazing for me to learn, is that the kaiju are not just villains. In many ways, they are forces of nature. They are not the evil villain that are like, I want to take over the world or rob banks or, you know, control certain aspects of society. The kaiju, when they do emerge and when they do start causing havoc, do so for a reason. And the kaiju have their own set of systems and rules and engagements for why they're doing what they do. So while they are seemingly you know, causing destruction and doing bad things and going up against Ultraman in these, you know, amazing, larger-than-life, biggest building battles, there is an underlying aspect to why they are doing that. And part of the fun of that, the stories that we're going to be telling and the stories that have been told, is finding out how Ultraman himself realizes what their motivations are and how he can use those motivations against them or kind of give them what they want to make them go back to where they came from. So as much as it is about the kicking and the punching and the toppling of these amazing adventures, there's an emotional core and a real story-based core to the fights as well.
Amazing. What are you most excited about with the series?
It's just, there's so much in the Ultraman mythology that we can play with. You know, just like Marvel Universe, there's decades that have been built on and decades of stories that we can pull influence from, pull inspiration from, and kind of bring that Marvel magic to. And Tom Brevoort is an encyclopedic knowledge of this, and along with the writers, Kyle Higgins and Matt Broom, Matt Broom. So they've really pulled some of the best parts of what Ultraman is and who he is and the world around him and crafted this new adventure that I think is going to really set the Marvel series apart while being an integral part of the Ultraman history. And the first issue is such a cool package. And so not only does it have a story, the main story about Ultraman that is going to be his origin, it has a few backup series in there. One by the amazing Michael Cho that focuses on Ultra Q, the original team, the series that actually inspired the creation of Ultraman and came to discover him. And also has a fun little strip by the Japanese art duo Gurihiru, who are going to be telling some stories about the kaiju in Ultraman's life. So it is really a comic that operates as a story on so many different levels.
Nice. Well, can't wait for that. As far as the initial reception, when it was announced that Marvel Comics was going to be doing Ultraman series, what was the reception like, both in Japan and the U.S.?
The reception was overwhelming. We could not have been more pleased with the way that the fans around the world embraced the thought that Marvel was going to be tackling Ultraman. Everyone first thought that, it's going to be Ultraman versus Spider-Man and Iron Man and the Avengers. And that's not the story we're telling here. We're telling a story that's set firmly in the Ultraman universe. And once fans got that and they heard who was creating it, they saw some of the covers, the gorgeous debut piece by Alex Ross. There's some fun stuff coming up by Ed McGuinness, by the legendary Art Adams, who loves this stuff. The more art they've seen, the more we've shown, the more news they've got. The excitement level has just ramped up, and the roof is about ready to blow. The issue is going to print, and I can't wait for fans to see it.
Exciting. Will there be any future potential crossovers with any of the Marvel characters? I know that there's a Spider-Man one-shot. Can you tell us a little bit about that and why that's happening or how that's happening?
Eventually, would we like to see, Ultraman and the kaiju and his cast of characters cross over with the Marvel Universe? Yes. Are there plans for it? Not immediately. So yes, there is the one piece that's floating around out there, the gorgeous image of Ultraman with Spider-Man on his shoulder, drawn by, the master Olivier Coipel. But that is going to be it for now. So fans will have to stay tuned as the Ultraman's adventures continue to see just where we take him.
Nice. So Ultraman also has a lot of merchandise in Japan and in the U.S. I'm wearing a shirt that I got just a couple of days ago.
Got my pin here. Yeah.
You have a pin. I don't know if you can tell anything about any merchandise related to the comics at all or anything like that.
There's been talks. We can't talk about anything specific just yet. I think, with Marvel, we're always a company that really talks about making the story the strongest it is first and letting everything else come later. So I think once fans see the story, they read the story, they get into it, then the parties that be will take whatever materials have been created and do something cool with it in other medium. But it's really, for us now, we're just focusing strictly on the story.
Focus on the story, right. I think there's been a bunch of games in Japan that have come out related to that, and there's an Ultraman game and plan for this as well. So,
it was so cool. When we started this relationship, once the deal was signed, the fine folks at Tsuburaya flew over to New York for a couple creative meetings. We've since met in Chicago. We did the big announcement in Tokyo. And it's like every time that we get together, they show me these amazing products that have come out, all the ways that Ultraman is being exposed to different fans of all ages around the world. And they always leave some great, gifts for me for my office or, for my friends. And, right now we're all working from home. This is my home office. But if we were at my Marvel office, you'd see it's filled with Ultraman statues and,
nice.
Little images and cute, like gashapon of the kaiju. So, we hope that the Marvel stories and, our interpretations of that universe will soon be turned into similar cool items, posters, T-shirts, games that fans around the world will be able to wear, collect, and celebrate.
Nice. Yeah, I can't wait either. I would love to have a Ultraman costume or a T-shirt, certainly. And hopefully by Halloween, we will see some Ultramans walking around.
That would be very, very cool. I would love to see that.
Book will definitely come out before then. So yeah, very, very exciting. Can you tell us about some of the Easter eggs? I heard that there's some Easter eggs or some things in the panel frames within the comic that diehard fans will be like, oh my God, Is there anything, I know you can't talk too much about Easter eggs in general, but is there anything that you can tell us about things for the diehard fans to look forward to in this series?
Sure. Just like when we create Marvel Comics, everyone that works at Marvel, the editors, the creators, the writers, the artists, they're Marvel zombies, as we call them. They're lifelong fans who love everything that we've ever done. So we always say that when we create comics by fans for fans. So if we weren't making them, we'd be out there buying them every week, and we always do from the other companies. So the same holds true for how we approached Ultraman. Kyle Higgins and Matt Groom are diehard Ultraman fans, as is Tom Brevoort. So when we were creating this comic, they said, wouldn't it be cool if we put things in the background in certain places where really old school fans will be able to notice it. And sometimes there'll be things there that might not be as obvious, but if a fan looks at it, might be able to Google it or look it up. They're going to find some extra added secrets to the story. And there is one big double-page spread in there that we have created that we're not releasing. And even we were putting out an ad, and I wanted to put a specific mention of it or a name in the catalog and in the promotion. They said, no, that has to say top secret. We want that to be to be the big surprise when people open up the book. And so we're leaving it that way. But yeah, if you're a new reader, if you've never even heard of Ultraman, this is a perfect entry point for you. It's going to be just a treat for old school fans. And for those diehard fans, as you mentioned, there will be even extra added bonuses as they make their way through the story.
Nice, super exciting. And I can't wait for the inevitable social media groundswell that's going to happen with fan Facebook pages and Instagrams and fan art all talking about Ultraman in the comics as each issue comes out. So can you tell us about how the issues are coming out? You mentioned the first issue. I understand there's going to be a first series of issues, and then there's going to be a continuation after that. Or can you tell us how that works?
Sure. There's a lot of different ways that Marvel Comics are published. Most people know the monthly series. Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Avengers. They've run for nearly over 50 years now. But we also do a different series of books called miniseries. So these are like a TV season. We know where the beginning, middle, and end are. And we go out saying, this is going to be a limited story that you can pick up and get the full, adventure in these pages. And the first Ultraman series is called The Rise of Ultraman. It's going to be 5 issues monthly starting in September with an oversized 40-page number 1. And it will be, told over a series of 5 months that will tell you the origin of Ultraman. As told, through Marvel's eyes. And then after that, after the 5th issue, the next month, we'll be launching a second series, which picks up in the middle of a, you know what, I don't want to give away too much. That's my list is still there. But yeah, there'll be a new series following that. So the way we're looking at it, it's a series of miniseries.
Gotcha. Well, I'm super excited. I can't wait to follow the stories of the Adventures of Ultraman and see the Marvel Comics version of Ultraman. As far as the art, what was the art style? Because again, there's a lot of different styles to draw from over the 50+ years of Ultraman. In Japan, there's the more there's the more TV movie style. There's the manga style of Japan, which would be translated. What was the style or the aesthetic that your artist decided to go with?
Yeah, one thing that Tsuburaya was pretty adamant about, and that we fully agreed with, is if with Ultraman coming to Marvel, we should definitely use a Marvel quote-unquote superhero style artist, someone who can do the kind of storytelling that fans are used to, bring that kind of dynamic to the artwork. The manga style, the anime style, the Ultraman's been drawn in every different kind of styles around the world, interpreted by many different artists, from illustrators to painters. And in this case, we went with we looked at a number of different artists, but Francesco Manna, who has drawn the book, was by far everybody's favorite. He really has a great grasp of sizing, doing normal human dynamics, of body language, but of scale. And that's what's most important, because when you're watching Ultraman on a screen, you can really get a sense of scale with the camera work. And comics is a 2D medium, so it's a little bit harder to translate scale and action sometimes. But the way that Francesco uses his pencil to do kind of the work of a movie director in pulling back and choosing angles to give you the maximum impact of size and of action is unbelievable. And we could just not be happier with the way he's translating every page and bringing the characters to life through their movements, through their action, and through the choreography that he brings to the comic.
Amazing. And will this be available digitally in any format or using any sort of augmented comics at all?
It will be available digitally, day and date, online through different places. We'll be announcing that list later. But there won't be any augmented comics yet. In the English language version will be a digital version of the print comic.
Gotcha. All right. Excellent. Well, again, I'm super excited to see Ultraman arrive in the pages of Marvel Comics. So thank you so much, CB, for hanging out with us and telling us about Ultraman.
Kevin, thanks for chatting. This was wonderful. And I thank you for being a fan. Thanks for coming on and talking to me. And to all the Ultraman fans out there, can't wait for you to read the story and hope you enjoy it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.